A study that shows tanning is good for you? What? I'm Kristen Smithers. I'm a board certified light therapist. Let's talk about it. A study that came out a year ago in September of 2024 actually gave some very significant proof that sun exposure is beneficial for you. And even if you have cancer, it helps you fight off the cancers better. This is something that I've known, but to actually have data that backs it up is insane. So I want to talk about a couple key points here because it's important to know the who, the whys, the whats, the wheres, the whens, the hows, etc. So the study found that sunbed users, not just people that went outside and were exposed to the sun, but sunbed users specifically had a 15% lower risk of all-cause mortality, a 23% lower risk of cardiovascular disease mortality, and a 14% lower risk of cancer-related mortality. 12% lower risk of non-cardiovascular disease and non-cancer related mortality compared to people who don't use sunbeds. Now, they did track melanoma rates in this study, and the people who had melanoma who also used sunbeds actually survived the melanoma better than people who plagued it off. Like, just, nope, I'm not doing it. And then the current sun guidelines, which focus only on the risks of sun exposure, need to be reevaluated and rewritten to also consider the benefits. UVB exposure through sun or sunbed makes vitamin D naturally through your skin, and this may provide different and additional health benefits other than vitamin D synthesis, and it's better than vitamin D supplement. The study showing people that lived in more southern latitudes had a 12% lower risk of all-cause mortality and a 19% reduced risk of cardiovascular disease mortality and a 12% risk of lower cancer mortality in the fully adjusted models. So sun exposure boosts these, but the sunbed users actually had a greater benefit. But all of the people, whether living in more southern climates and being exposed to sun outdoors, or people who use tanning beds, everybody had higher vitamin D levels, which is critical for overall health. So one note, which they do say that were not statistically significant, was that the people receiving the higher UV dosages did have a higher incidence of melanoma, but the mortality rate was in better favor of the people exposed to sun or sunbed users. So you get melanoma, whether you are exposed to sun or not, and the people who expose themselves to sun or sunbeds have a better chance of surviving it. And I bet you it's because of the vitamin D. Actually, studies show it's because of the vitamin D. But I honestly think the reason why the melanoma rates are higher is because people don't understand overexposure. Overexposure is what is terrible for us in the long run, and nobody really follows it. If you are tanning every single day, that is not good for you. Every other day is amazing. Now, if you live a moderately outdoor lifestyle, you're building up that vitamin D protection to where you're good regardless, but the majority of people using tanning beds aren't in those areas, so you're damaging your skin. You need that healthy balance. Professor Chris Dibben of University of Edinburgh School of Geosciences says, our paper adds to a growing body of evidence suggesting that in lower light environments, relatively higher exposure to UV is good for your health. Though there may be an increased risk of skin cancer incidence with higher UV exposure, this risk appears to be outweighed by a larger reduction in the risk of death from cancer and cardiovascular related disease. So it's when the benefits outweigh the risks. People are always going to judge people for tanning or going outside in the sun, but we are fancy houseplants. We need water, we need food, we need light. But the problem is the avoidance of light is actually causing more harm than good in the long run, but who's teaching you how to do it properly? So that's where I come in. If you guys are going to be exposing your body to sun, my goal is not to get as dark as possible. My goal is to expose my body to light so I build up a tolerance to sun so I'm not burning, but also still getting the benefits of sun exposure. So we're going to start off very low and slow. We're going to skip every other day. I ideally every even 2 days, but the benefits happen when you're exposed every 48 hours. You have proven better bone structures, lower blood pressure, happier hormones are better for you, circadian rhythms in check, so many benefits, so many studies that back this up. But there is a push in the medical community to start teaching the proper way to expose your body to the sun or sun beds, and that sun beds are a optimal replacement if you are not in a southern climate where you can get good sun year round. If you've ever burnt once in your entire life and then decide to blame moderate tanning for skin issues, you guys, think logically. Your body is made to build melanin and oxidize melanin to prevent your skin from burning, because burning is what needs to be avoided. If you've drank alcohol, if you've ever smoked, if you drink and you smoke, or you eat fast food, or you eat junk food, or you eat processed food, or you go outside and you breathe our environment air, you live in cities that have a lot of factories. There are so many things that contribute to cancers, and your skin is your largest organ. Of course, it's going to be a target for cancers if you use products that have chemicals in this. And yes, I'm going to include chemical sunscreens that chemically change how your body processes the sun. It changes fish's DNA. It kills barrier reefs. It lingers in your body for days after it's used. Please use mineral. Please use mineral. I'm not saying go outside and not protect your skin. I'm saying you need to avoid burning. And your body has natural defenses against that, which is great. Okay. If you want to discuss it, let me know, because I love talking about it.